3IAtlas, the transformation that surprises the universe from the very moment of its initial detection. The enigmatic interstellar object designated 3IAtlas had captivated astronomers worldwide, a fleeting visitor from beyond our solar system. Yet now, in an unprecedented turn of events, it is fundamentally transformed, becoming something utterly unlike the inert cosmic wanderer we once believed it to be. For the first time in the annals of interstellar object tracking, 3IAtlas has completely defied every meticulously constructed model and every long-held astronomical expectation. Across a sprawling, interconnected network of tracking stations spanning continents from the sun-drenched observatories of Europe to the high-tech outposts peppered across North America, a consensus emerged. Stark and unsettling, they had detected immeasurable, statistically undeniable deviation from its calculated, predictable trajectory. This wasn't a sudden, cataclysmic shift in its path. Rather, it manifested as a silent, almost imperceptible divergence, a whisper's-thin anomaly that first registered as barely discernible noise in the colossal streams of data, eventually growing into an unmistakable, impossible Toynor signature etched into the very fabric of its flight path. What baffled researchers was the erratic, almost intelligent nature of this deviation. It wasn't merely a straightforward acceleration or deceleration, the kind of predictable adjustments often caused by known celestial mechanics or faint gravitational nudges. No, this was far more intricate, hinting at a dynamic, evolving internal mass distribution, as if some unseen engine or transformative process deep within its core was subtly altering its very shape or density. Deep space radar returns, meticulously gathered and analyzed, painted an even more enigmatic picture. They consistently revealed fluctuating reflectivity levels. These shifts, while individually minor and transient, were disturbingly consistent across multiple independent radar arrays, unequivocally ruling out any simple instrumental error. This unprecedented behavior meant one profound thing for the very first time. Every single model meticulously crafted around 3IAtlas' presumed origin, its inherent structure, and its expected trajectory had comprehensively, unequivocally failed to align with the stark, undeniable reality of the observations. The implications were profound and deeply unsettling. Esteemed teams at the European Southern Observatory, renowned for their rigorous analytical standards and unparalleled precision, swiftly confirmed that exhaustive recalibrations and meticulous cross-checks could absolutely not account for the widening discrepancy. This wasn't a flaw in our telescopes, nor a glitch in our software. Rather, it was something intrinsic to the object itself, an undeniable, internal metamorphosis unfolding millions of miles away. The chilling conclusion was clear, echoing through the corridors of every major space agency. If these precise, corroborated readings held true, then the entity now silently traversing the vast emptiness of interstellar space was demonstrably no longer the inert, predictable cosmic wanderer we had meticulously observed and charted for months. It was becoming something else entirely. What was it becoming? A new form? A nascent entity? The questions rippled with a sense of both dread and unparalleled scientific wonder. Initially, for several frustrating weeks, this nascent anomaly was cautiously, perhaps even hopefully, dismissed as mere calibration noise, the kind of minor drift one might expect from the incessant dance of atmospheric interference or the subtle timing delays inherent in synchronizing vast, geographically separated sensor arrays. But when the colossal datasets from the arid observatories high in the Chilean Andes, the volcanic peaks of Hawaii, and the sun-baked outposts of the Canary Islands were meticulously collated and cross-referenced, any lingering hope of a simple explanation evaporated. A deeper, far more disturbing pattern solidified into an undeniable truth. Every single observatory, irrespective of location or instrument type, had recorded the exact same anomaly at the exact same nanosecond. This wasn't a model subtly drifting off course. It was, with terrifying clarity, detaching from its mathematical prediction entirely, like an anchor spontaneously severing its chain in the depths of a cosmic ocean. In a flurry of frantic activity, seasoned analysts painstakingly rechecked every line of code within the sophisticated synchronization algorithms that govern the alignment of these global telescopic networks. They scoured for even the most minuscule programming error, a dropped bit, a misplaced comma, a microsecond discrepancy. Yet, to their mounting unease, no fault was found. Timestamps, verified with atomic clock precision, matched impeccably. Distant reference stars, the bedrock of celestial navigation, held their positions with unyielding constancy, forming an unmoving backdrop. And yet, against all known laws and observations, 3IAtlas continued its insidious deviation, curving ever so subtly, ever so deliberately, off its expected path, a mesmerizing, almost hypnotic departure, akin to a meticulously wound thread slowly, inexorably, unwinding from an invisible spool held by an unseen hand in the cosmic tapestry. The sheer, unsettling precision of this deviation wasn't just a curiosity, it commanded immediate, undivided attention. This wasn't a random, chaotic wander, the kind of uncontrolled tumble one might expect from a lifeless rock pinballing through space. Instead, it shifted with a disconcerting, patterned rhythm, an almost deliberate cadence, as if responding to some profoundly unmodeled, perhaps even intelligent, influence. Every conceivable natural explanation was systematically and unsuccessfully debunked. The gentle whisper of solar wind, normally capable of nudging smaller objects, was demonstrably too weak to account for such a persistent alteration. The subtle push of radiation pressure, the immense but predictable tugs of gravitational perturbations from distant giants, or even the sporadic bursts of outgassing from well-understood mechanisms behind cometary motion could not, by any stretch of physics, explain the precise direction or the uncanny timing of these shifts. The total energy required for this sustained reorientation was, in the grand, unfathomable scales of astronomical dynamics, utterly minuscule, yet paradoxically, it was utterly impossible to attribute to any known form of natural variance. A quiet, almost clandestine alert, coded with an urgency that belied its understated tone, swiftly disseminated through the revered channels of the International Minor Planet Center network, requesting immediate confirmatory observations. The scientific community, though initially stunned, responded with remarkable speed and cohesion, understanding the gravity of the situation. Within mere hours, a dozen major observatories, from the arid plateaus of Arizona to the remote, cloud-shrouded peaks of the Andes, pivoted their colossal instruments, focusing their penetrating gazes toward the enigmatic coordinates of 3IAtlas. The results were uniform, chillingly, so every single one confirmed a slow, deliberate divergence. This wasn't about accelerating or decelerating the object, wasn't speeding up or slowing down. It was simply profoundly moving differently. The true scale of the mystery deepened when the complex telemetry graphs, chronicling 3IAtlas' erratic journey, were meticulously overlaid. What emerged was not the jagged, unpredictable chaos of a random curve, but a startlingly consistent, repeating paterna rhythmic cosmic heartbeat, pulsing with an inexplicable regularity. The acceleration vectors, typically chaotic and varied, now aligned into faint, yet unmistakable pulses, echoing with uncanny regularity roughly every 6 hours. This precise periodicity, scientists quickly realized, coincided almost perfectly with the object's estimated rotational period. This chilling correlation offered a singular, profoundly unsettling implication. Whatever colossal, unseen force was subtly altering its trajectory, twisting its path through the cosmos, was not an external influence. No, it originated from within the object itself, an internal engine driving its inexplicable ballet. In hushed tones and through the secure confines of encrypted channels and exclusive private research groups, scientists began to unofficially christen the phenomenon the lost calibration. This wasn't a casual, dismissive term for faulty instruments or misaligned detectors. Rather, it was a poignant, almost poetic descriptor for a fundamental shift in understanding. It encapsulated the chilling realization that reality itself, as observed through their most advanced instruments, had simply ceased to align with its meticulously constructed mathematical outline, venturing into a realm where the very laws of celestial mechanics seemed to bend and warp, defying comfortable prediction. Desperate attempts to stabilize the predictive models, once the bedrock of space navigation and our understanding of the cosmos, proved utterly futile. The venerated JPL Ephemerist Comprehensive Astronomical Almanac of Positions and Velocities, which once predicted celestial paths with breathtaking accuracy, now demanded revision not just daily, but then, with escalating urgency, hourly, as the enigmatic deviation relentlessly intensified. The European Space Agency's formidable tracking division, a bastion of precision, was compelled to issue a somber internal notice. The uncertainty plaguing the orbital solution had spiraled to non-convergent levels, a chilling scientific euphemism meaning, quite simply, that their most sophisticated algorithms could no longer even approximate the object's future path. It was charting its own course, heedless of human prediction. Behind the secure, hushed doors of international space agencies and prestigious research institutions, this escalating enigma was far more than a scientific puzzle. It was deeply unsettling, a profound challenge to the very foundational tenets of astrophysics. Interstellar objects, by definition and observation, were supposed to be passive cosmic travelers, obeying the simple, elegant mechanics of gravity. They arrive, they pass through, and they depart unburdened by internal agency. But 3IAtlas was defying this fundamental expectation, shattering that comfortable paradigm. It wasn't merely a silent, indifferent visitor preparing to fade into the cosmic void. No, with unnerving implications, it was adjusting. It was adapting. It was in some inexplicable way changing course from within, an active participant in its own destiny. And then, with an almost theatrical timing, as if consciously responding to the relentless, sustained scrutiny of humanity's most advanced telescopic eyes, another, even more startling anomaly manifested. The exquisitely sensitive infrared spectrographs aboard the revolutionary James Webb Space Telescope, poised nearly 1 million miles from Earth, registered a faint yet undeniably consistent increase in emitted heat. This was no mere reflection of distant starlight or absorbed solar radiation passively re-emitted, which would produce a predictable thermal signature. This was genuine, endogenous thermal radiation emanating from deep within the object itself. The signal, though incredibly weak, was absolutely unmistakable, a distinct thermal echo reverberating from an object that, by all known astrophysical principles, should have remained utterly frozen, its frigid interior existing at temperatures terrifyingly close to absolute zero. This revelation shattered any remaining illusions of 3IAtlas being a passive, inert chunk of space rock. For the very first time, researchers found themselves grappling with an almost unthinkable question: was 3IAtlas undergoing a profound internal process? This wasn't the violent, momentary chaos of a cosmic collision, nor the predictable, albeit energetic, venting of trapped volatiles, like a comet sublimating under solar warmth. No, this was something far more profound and unsettling: a sustained, self-contained release of energy, a slow burn utterly inconsistent with the passive, frozen nature of any known interstellar material ever observed or theorized. It spoke of activity, not inertia. The detected change was delicate, almost imperceptibly gentle, a soft warmth blossoming in the void. Yet, in the profound, crushing silence of deep space, where even the faintest shimmer of activity stands out against the backdrop of cosmic stillness and icy indifference, even a mere whisper of emitted energy from a supposed inert object suggests something truly extraordinary. It implies that something is alive, not necessarily in a biological sense, but certainly in a dynamic, energetic, and self-regulating way that current physics, constrained by known laws and established models, is utterly ill-equipped to explain. The urgency of the moment spurred a rapid mobilization of observational resources. Over the next 72 intense hours, a relentless barrage of infrared imaging sequences meticulously confirmed the initial detection. The heat signature was undeniably real, remarkably stable, and with chilling consistency, slowly but steadily intensifying. Webb's hypersensitive detectors began to resolve a distinct, soft glow at the object's trailing edge, a luminous whisper oscillating in mesmerizing, measurable cycles. Crucially, this emission pattern bore no resemblance whatsoever to absorbed and passively re-radiated sunlight, which would typically manifest as a uniform, steady warmth. Instead, it pulsed with an uncanny rhythm at intervals that strongly suggested sophisticated internal modulation and almost biological regularity, like the slow, deliberate respiration of a colossal, awakening entity on a planetary scale. Scientists, racing against the clock of deepening mystery, systematically subjected every known physical model in their extensive arsenal to rigorous scrutiny. The initial, most conventional hypothesis sublimation of frozen gases, a classic cometary activity, was thoroughly explored. However, this explanation quickly dissolved, for 3IAtlas was journeying far, far beyond the sun's frost line, that critical boundary in space where even notoriously volatile compounds like carbon monoxide, ice, typically remain utterly inert, locked in their frozen state. Furthermore, despite the increasing heat, no telltale vapor trails were observed, nor did any spectral analysis reveal the characteristic signatures of outgassing. The stark, undeniable fact remained: the object was demonstrably heating up, generating its own internal warmth, without exhibiting any corresponding, detectable loss of massa, profound violation of expected physics, a process of energy without expenditure. Inevitably, comparisons were drawn to Oumuamua, the celebrated 2017 interstellar visitor whose own faint, inexplicable acceleration had similarly defied straightforward explanation, sparking widespread speculation and even fantastical theories. Yet, even Oumuamua's enigmatic motion could, however imperfectly, eventually be attributed to some form of non-gravitational outflow, perhaps subtle outgassing from its surface, acting like tiny, invisible thrusters gently nudging along. But 3IAtlas presented an entirely new, more profound level of mystery. Its distinct, internal heat emission produced no discernible thrust, no detectable plumes of venting gas, no visible evidence of expended energy or material. This was a process entirely confined within its enigmatic shell, self-contained and operating without any visible output in internal combustion or energy generation that offered no external clue to its mechanism, making it even more baffling than its predecessor. In a frantic search for answers, proposed mechanisms for this inexplicable internal heating multiplied, each more exotic than the last, demonstrating the intellectual desperation to find a natural cause. Theories range from piezoelectric heating generated deep within compressed crystalline structures, where mechanical stress converts to electrical energy and then heat, to the slow, relentless decay of long-dormant radionuclides embedded within its core for billions of years, even to the realignment of metastable materials under the immense stresses of its rotation, releasing stored energy. Yet, none of these ingenious hypotheses could adequately account for the truly baffling rhythmic consistency of the heat fluctuations. The internal warmth demonstrably rose and fell, waxing and waning, in perfect, unwavering alignment with the object's precise spin cycle, as if energy were being systematically circulated through an organized, intelligent latticea, hidden circulatory system, or an intricate, internal machine operating with astonishing regularity. The observational evidence continued to mount, painting an ever-stranger portrait. At the European Southern Observatory's premier facility on Cerro Paranal, high in the pristine, arid Chilean desert, scientists conducted a meticulous side-by-side comparison of radiometric graphs which charted the object's emitted heat and its optical light curve data, measuring its visible brightness. What emerged was a profoundly clear, undeniable correlation, a discovery that sent shivers through the research teams. Each distinct rise in internal heat consistently preceded a subtle, almost imperceptible brightening in the object's optical reflectivity. Conversely, as the object's internal warmth subsequently cooled, its surface luminosity dimmed once more. This astonishing synchronicity strongly suggested that these rhythmic thermal pulses were not merely emanating from within, but were actively, dynamically altering the very material of the object's surface itself, inducing a physical change. A frantic re-examination of archived spectroscopic data, stretching back to the previous summer's initial observations, delivered another bombshell. The profound transformation had, in fact, already quietly commenced, unfolding beneath the radar of earlier scrutiny. Just months prior, 3IAtlas had presented itself as a quintessential piece of interstellar debris low albedo, uniformly dark, matte surface, characteristic of inert carbonaceous compounds, unremarkable and seemingly lifeless. Yet, the latest high-resolution spectra revealed a dramatic, almost impossible alteration. Its reflectivity had soared by an astonishing nearly 40%. The surface that was once a dull, light-absorbing stone now glinted with an emerging, almost metallic sheen, actively reflecting light as if a monumental, unseen force from deep within were meticulously polishing it from the inside out, transforming its very epidermal layer into something alien and new, a shell of changing purpose. Further corroboration, adding yet another layer of perplexing detail, came from sophisticated ground-based polarimetric imaging. This technique, which meticulously analyzes how light scatters and polarizes upon reflection from a surface, revealed patterns utterly inconsistent with the expected rough, porous regolith of a typical asteroid or comet, which would scatter light haphazardly. Instead, the signature now resembled that of an impossibly smooth, meticulously engineered composite materialis substance that was neither fully metallic, exhibiting the sharp, distinct reflections of polished metal, nor purely crystalline, with its ordered, faceted light scattering. It was, rather, something exquisitely in between, a hybrid material defying easy classification, suggesting a structural integrity and composition far beyond the crude aggregates of typical cosmic wanderers, hinting at an artificial origin. This cascade of increasingly baffling discoveries, each more challenging to established physics than the last, inevitably fractured the international astronomical community. The scientific consensus, once a comforting bedrock of shared understanding, began to splinter under the weight of the inexplicable, diverging into passionate arguments. A significant faction, clinging desperately to the familiar paradigms of natural phenomena, vehemently insisted that conventional explanations, however strained, must still apply. They posited complex, albeit still unproven, scenarios such as the sealing of microfractures under the subtle but persistent thermal stresses emanating from within, or the gradual sintering of surface particles, a process where microscopic grains fuse together under heat, creating a denser, smoother crust. But even these elaborate theories struggled to explain the uncanny rhythm, the sustained energy output, and the impossible precision of 3IAtlas accelerating transformation, leaving a gaping void in their logical arguments. Other analyses spoke quietly, almost conspiratorially, of structural metamorphosis, a radical, unsettling theory proposing that the very body of 3IAtlas was not merely degrading, but actively reorganizing at the molecular level. It was as if its internal architecture was being fundamentally rewritten atom by atom. The paradox only deepened the more data that flooded in from across the astronomical community, the less discernible sense it made. The object's albedo, its measure of diffuse reflectivity, stubbornly continued its inexplicable ascent. Meanwhile, the light spectrum, usually a complex tapestry of peaks and valleys revealing a celestial Bode's composition, instead flattened ominously. This spectral monotony indicated a drastic reduction in the intricate fingerprints of complex organic molecules, those rich, varied compounds typically abundant on primordial comets. In their place, the object presented an unervingly uniform reflectance, a pristine, almost artificial sheen unlike the chaotic, variegated light scatter of natural rock. It called to mind the meticulously polished surfaces of engineered alloys, gleaming with an unnatural, almost manufactured precision. What cosmic process could forge such an identity? Then, as if to escalate the mystery, a new anomaly burst onto the scene: intermittent narrowband radio noise, faint yet undeniably present, centered precisely just below the crucial hydrogen linear frequency often associated with interstellar gas. These bursts, fleeting as they were, lasting only fractions of a second, were far from random. They coincided with an astonishing, almost impossible precision with the previously observed thermal pulses. Initially, the signal was so faint, so elusive, that it was easy to dismiss as mere radio interference, a ghost in the vast electromagnetic ocean. But then came the chilling confirmation: separate instruments, located half a world apart, meticulously designed and independently operated, detected the identical signal simultaneously. Triangulation, a method as old as navigation itself, irrefutably pinpointed the source directly at 3IAtlas coordinates. No known natural mechanism, no cosmic ray burst, no stellar flare could conceivably produce an emission so exquisitely narrowband, so astonishingly regular, or so perfectly synchronized with internal thermal activity. It defied every known principle of astrophysics. The event, meticulously logged, time-stamped, and perhaps with a touch of trepidation, quietly circulated among a privileged few. Official statements, crafted with an air of dismissive confidence, quickly labeled it a mere statistical artifact, a spurious blip in the cosmic noise. But among the inner circle of researchers, a profound, almost oppressive silence grew heavier. The implications were shattering. If these bursts were indeed genuine, if they were not an error, then they inescapably implied pattern. And pattern, in the language of science, irrevocably implied process. The universe, vast and indifferent, does not typically generate such structured coherence by chance. Subsequent waveform analysis left no room for doubt. The bursts were emphatically not random. Each fleeting transmission contained minute, almost imperceptible frequency shifts, repeating with an unnerving consistency at precisely regular intervals, like the hidden layers of code carried in static, a message embedded within the noise itself. The thought, too audacious to be spoken aloud, hung unspoken in the sterile air of the labs. No one dared call it intentional, for that ventured into realms far beyond science. Yet with a mounting sense of dread, no one, with all their data and their models, could prove it was not. Late one evening, under the glow of monitors, revised mass estimates began to circulate, whispering through secure networks. What had started as a seemingly minor recalculation in the brightness-to-miss ratio, a routine adjustment, rapidly escalated into a full-scale revision of the object's very physical identity. The numbers, usually so obedient to the laws of physics, now stubbornly refused to fit any conventional model. They screamed contradiction. Remarkably, the object's apparent size, measured with painstaking accuracy through both infrared and optical instruments, remained stubbornly constant. No discernible expansion or contraction was observed. Yet, the gravitational influence models, which infer mass from how an object tugs on its neighbors or affects space-time, painted a drastically different picture. They implied the density had changed profoundly. Original projections, based on its cometary characteristics, had described a relatively porous, carbonaceous body much like a dirty snowball roughly 200 meters across. The new, unsettling readings, however, suggested something far more substantial, a much denser, almost metallic mass, an impenetrable core where there should have been fluff. Such a radical shift in density should have been physically impossible without visible structural change, perhaps a dramatic collapse or compaction or a noticeable alteration in its rotation rate. Yet, to the bewilderment of all observers, none was observed. Furthermore, the previously noted brightness fluctuations, tenuously linked to thermal pulses, simply could not account for a doubling, possibly even a tripling, of density. The energy required for such a transformation, without any outward sign, was immense, defying fundamental conservation laws. The paradox, already a chasm, deepened further when the new, recalibrated mass was plugged into the object's precise trajectory data. According to the ironclad laws of Newtonian mechanics, a sudden and dramatic increase in density should have, without question, dramatically altered its orbital path. One would expect a significant deviation, a gravitational wobble. Instead, the observed deviation remained remarkably small, almost negligible, yet was strangely coherent, still meticulously following the persistent 6-hour rhythm that now defined 3IAtlas. The mathematics, once a comforting language of certainty, now refused to converge, yielding only nonsense and contradictions when attempting to reconcile its mass, its path, and its unchanging appearance. Desperate for an explanation, some researchers propose that the discrepancy lay not within the enigmatic object itself, but in the surrounding space, perhaps a transient field effect or an acetone interstellar distortion warping their measurements. Others, clinging to scientific conservatism, suggested a simpler explanation: observational bias, a subtle human error in data collection or interpretation. Both ideas, however, collapsed under the weight of irrefutable evidence when independent teams, utilizing entirely separate instruments from different observatories around the globe, reproduced the results with chilling exactitude. The anomaly was real, robust, and undeniably intrinsic to 3IAtlas. By midday, the scientific conversation, once focused on superficial characteristics, had profoundly shifted toward the object's internal structure. If its mass, its heat signature, and its reflectivity were all undergoing such profound, unheralded transformations, then perhaps 3IAtlas was not a solid monolith at all. This radical theory found compelling support in new polarimetric imaging data. Polarized light scatter, which reveals details about surface texture and internal arrangements, now showed multiple overlapping planes reflecting light at slightly different angles and intricate internal geometry, resembling stratified material or exquisitely nested shells, each rotating at infinitesimally different speeds. It was like peeling back the layers of an onion, only to find each layer independently alive. The implications were profound enough to warrant an unpublicized memo from NASA's Goddard Center, a quiet internal alert noting rotational phase variance inconsistent with rigid body dynamics. In plain language, stripped of technical jargon, what this meant was truly startling. The object was flexing. It was not a static, unyielding rock, but a dynamic entity, subtly changing shape by minute, almost imperceptible degrees as it turned on its axis. It pulsed with a hidden, organic motion. Further, intensive analysis revealed an astonishing connection the resonance between these internal flexing layers precisely matched the 6-hour cycle that had been observed in its motion, its heat emissions, and its narrowband radio signals. The pattern was not random, but stable, exquisitely synchronized, and remarkably self-regulating. It pointed to an undeniable truth: something profound inside was actively maintaining its balance, orchestrating these complex, interconnected dynamics. The word resonance itself began dominating internal reports, not as a poetic metaphor, but as a hard, measurable property. Minute timing offsets detected in radar echoes, beamed from the Deep Space Network's gargantuan 70-meter dishes, unveiled microsecond-level fluctuations repeating in exact clockwork intervals. These echoes from a solid, inert body should have been utterly consistent, a monotonous bounce. Instead, the radar waves encountered alternating layers of material that appeared to rhythmically expand and contract in sync with the object's rotation. When mathematically plotted, this bizarre phase pattern bore an uncanny resemblance to the harmonic structure of sound, a fundamental bass frequency underpinning multiple, mathematically coherent overtones. Yet, this was not sound transmitting through an atmosphere. It was the precise timing of reflected light and radio waves from an object an unfathomable 2 astronomical units away. One word, above all others, emerged repeatedly in independent analyses, echoing across continents' coherence. The previously disparate phenomena, the light reflections, the radio emissions, the very rotations, were no longer seen as separate, unrelated events. Instead, they were revealed to be intimately linked, self-referential, and exquisitely tuned to one another, components of a single, unified system. Researchers, treading cautiously into uncharted scientific territory, guardedly labeled it adaptive resonance. The implication, as profound as it was disturbing, was clear. 3IAtlas was not merely changing passively, it was responding, not necessarily to humanity's gaze, but undeniably, actively to its environment. Consider, for example, a specific instance when solar wind density briefly increased after a minor coronal mass ejection from the sun, the object's infrared emission. Spectrum perceptibly shifted in measurable amplitude, a precise mirroring of the change in particle flux. And just as remarkably, when the solar wind subsided and particle flux returned to normal, the amplitude of the infrared emission returned exactly to its prior state. This real-time, instantaneous modulation implied the existence of a sophisticated physical mechanism capable of interacting a system. It was not overtly biological, nor was it necessarily artificial in a human-designed sense, but it was, with chilling certainty, undeniably feedback-driven. Debates within the scientific community, once collegial, now hardened into 2 distinct, irreconcilable camps. One faction, still clinging to established physics, saw an extraordinary but ultimately natural process, perhaps a fantastically rare, metastable crystalline lattice undergoing complex realignments under the influence of external energy. The other, however, gazed into the abyss of the unknown and saw something entirely new, not merely a rock, not a long-dead relic of the cosmos, but a living process, an active, dynamic entity. Even the meticulously measured scientific discourse began to crack under the strain of these revelations. Words that were once unthinkable in a scientific context began to appear with increasing frequency: reactive, systemic, and most disturbingly, though only in drafts never meant for public consumption intentional, the very lexicon of science was being stretched beyond its breaking point. Further, almost beyond belief, gravitational telemetry began to hint at tiny, almost infinitesimal perturbations in local space as 3IAtlas passed through precise observational corridors. These microfluctuations, so subtle they nearly escaped detection, were also synchronized with its ubiquitous 6-hour rhythm. It appeared that gravity itself, or at least its detectable influence, was oscillating, pulsating in harmony with the object. When meticulously translated into frequency data, these gravitational fluctuations mirrored the earlier narrowband radio bursts, albeit at a significantly lower energy level. The picture was now complete, unified, in utterly alien heat, light, motion, gravity all pulsing together, interwoven in an impossible cosmic dance. Theoretical models, pushed beyond their established boundaries, spilled into wild speculation concepts like quantum resonance structures, self-regulating fields, and entirely unknown energy storage mechanisms were posited. Yet every single attempt to simplify, to normalize, to rationalize the bewildering array of data inevitably led back to the same inescapable realization: 3IAtlas was coherent in ways no inert body should be. It simply broke the universe. If something existing in the frigid, desolate expanse of deep interstellar space possessed the capacity to maintain synchronization across multiple, fundamentally different physical domains from thermal emissions to gravitational fields, then what principle of physics could possibly allow it? Or, as one particularly bold researcher dared to scribble in a draft never meant to be seen by official eyes, perhaps the principle itself is what we are truly observing, not merely an object, but the profound, generative phenomenon that gives rise to it. By the time those unsettling words, those whispers of a new reality, began to circulate through the scientific grapevine, 3IAtlas had already begun its most audacious act. It had started to distort the very fabric of space-time, visibly altering the stars behind it. The first concrete evidence of this truly epic-making change arrived quietly, almost innocuously, nestled within raw optical data stream from the Subaru telescope in Hawaii. As researchers painstakingly cleaned the background noise from the vast cosmic images, they noticed faint, almost imperceptible distortions in the pristine star field surrounding the object. Nearby stars, usually fixed points of light, appear to shift their position by mere fractions of an arcseconda, telltale sign of a subtle lensing arc, as if space itself was being bent. Gravitational lensing on such a minute scale, from an object of 3IAtlas estimated size, seemed utterly impossible. According to all known physics, the required mass was orders of magnitude beyond anything 3IAtlas could conceivably possess. Yet, the effect was too precise to be dismissed. It was verified independently by the venerable Keck Observatory on Mauna Kea and the formidable Very Large Telescope in Chile, eliminating any doubt. The distortion itself was weak, certainly, but it was incredibly precise, and most significantly, it was repeating in perfect rhythm with the object's now infamous 6-hour cycle. It was as if space itself appeared to be breathing in sync with the object's rotation. This was no static, unwavering gravitational warp, like the profound, stable lensing of a black hole or a massive planet. This was something dynamic, something alive, a rhythmic pulsation of space-time itself. The object's bizarre behavior manifested as a rhythmic fluctuation, a pulsing ebb and flow that seemed to expand and contract, mimicking the serene yet powerful surge and retreat of an ocean tide. This cyclical respiration initially led scientists to theorize about a refraction phenomenon occurring within an ionized plasma sheath, imagining a shimmering, energetic envelope surrounding the anomaly. This hypothesis, while elegant, was swiftly discarded when meticulous analysis of spectral data revealed absolutely no signature of plasma, no telltale emission lines, no characteristic absorption bands. Similarly, purely electromagnetic explanations, no matter how ingeniously crafted, collapsed under the sheer impossibility of the energy demands. To account for such colossal distortions through conventional electromagnetic forces would have necessitated an energy output so astronomically vast, it would have dwarfed that of a small star, making it an utterly implausible scenario for an object of this apparent size. Yet, as researchers meticulously plotted the observed distortion over extended periods, an unsettling revelation emerged: the periodicity of these spatial anomalies perfectly mirrored the distinct frequency pattern first detected in the enigmatic radio bursts. This was no mere coincidence, it was a profound connection. The implications were staggering. The resonance, once believed to be merely an internal vibration within the object's physical structure, had evidently transcended its confines. It was not merely rattling within, it was actively propagating outward, subtly yet undeniably sculpting the very fabric of space-time in its immediate vicinity, like ripples radiating from stone dropped into a cosmic pond. Compounding this evidence, meticulous telemetry data beamed back from various passing spacecraft, those silent sentinels orbiting our solar system, began to reveal highly peculiar anomalies. Their onboard inertial reference systems, painstakingly calibrated to near-perfect precision, registered subtle, almost imperceptible deviations, a mere nanometer per squared shift in acceleration. Crucially, these minute disturbances occurred with uncanny precision, coinciding exactly with the moment 3IAtlas traversed their observational corridors. This wasn't random noise, it was a ghost in the machine, a whisper of influence perfectly synchronized with the object's presence. The undeniable conclusion was both thrilling and terrifying. Humanity was not merely observing phenomena in the familiar domains of light or heat, those traditional messengers from the cosmos. No, we were now directly detecting a profound, resonant rhythm in gravity itself, the very bedrock of the universe. What did this imply about the nature of this visitor? And what new frontiers of physics were we unwittingly stumbling upon? In the face of these escalating revelations, official public statements remained characteristically cautious, carefully calibrated to avoid undue alarm or sensationalism. Yet, behind the closed doors of top-secret facilities, a palpable sense of urgency permeated the atmosphere. An emergency classification meeting was swiftly convened, bringing together the world's foremost astrophysicists, engineers, and strategic thinkers. The central, deeply unsettling question hung heavy in the air, given its increasingly anomalous and active behavior. Could 3IAtlas, in good scientific conscience, still be accurately described as a mere interstellar object at all? Its actions were defying all conventional definitions. Having initially entered our solar system as a silent, seemingly inert cosmic derelict, dark and unremarkable against the endless void, 3IAtlas had undergone an astonishing transformation. It now operated with the precision and complexity of a highly sophisticated resonance system actively radiating energy, reflecting light with peculiar patterns, and, most astoundingly, observably distorting the very fabric of space-time in quantifiable, measurable ways. This unprecedented behavior wasn't just pushing the envelope of physics, it was tearing it open. The comforting, well-understood boundary separating the realm of natural astrophysical phenomena from something entirely different, perhaps engineered, perhaps profoundly alien, was rapidly, disconcertingly blurring. Furthermore, humanity's vast network of deep sky arrays, those sensitive antennae meticulously designed to eavesdrop on the universe's whispers, began reporting a disconcerting shift. The ambient background noise surrounding 3IAtlas, once featureless static, was growing remarkably complex. This wasn't just random interference, it was static exhibiting distinct, unsettling patterns of repetition, like a fractured melody struggling to emerge. Faint harmonic nodes, akin to the overtones of a vast, unseen instrument, were detected spreading across the entire electromagnetic spectrum. When painstakingly analyzed by advanced algorithms, every single one of these harmonics resonated in perfect alignment with an underlying, persistent 6-hour base frequency, predictably multiplied by precise integer factors. It was as if the object itself was humming a deeply mathematical, cosmic tune. Then, at precisely 2114 UTC on a fateful evening, the universe seemed to hold its breath. A new, unprecedented, low-frequency, subharmonic pulse surged through the cosmos, simultaneously detected and verified by two independent stations situated literally half a world apart, an undeniable, irrefutable event. This singular burst of energy lasted for a mere 83 seconds, a fleeting whisper that, chillingly, never repeated itself. Its ephemeral existence was even more profound given its exact coincidence with the object's peak infrared emission. The waveform itself was not chaotic, it was exquisitely structured, remarkably precise and unknown. Resonant chords struck once on an impossibly vast instrument, its profound echo lingering in the minds of the observers, then vanishing into silence. The scientific community grappled with how to label this extraordinary event. Some pragmatically designated it an artifact, perhaps a transient, natural byproduct of the object's exotic processes, or even a vestige of some ancient, long-vanished intelligence. Yet, a significant number of analysts hesitated, a profound reluctance in their voices to utter the word message. For to label it as such would irrevocably redefine humanity's place in the cosmos, opening a Pandora's box of implications about intent, intelligence, and communication on a cosmic scale. What responsibilities would such a declaration entail? In the wake of that singular, resonant pulse, a profound and unsettling change began to unfold. The pervasive, multispectral resonance across all detected channels, which had so captivated and bewildered scientists, started to systematically weaken. The once vigorous radio bursts, those distinctive rhythmic pulses, slowly faded into the background static. The strong thermal pulses, registering as measurable spikes in infrared, gradually flattened, becoming indistinct. Even the subtle gravitational oscillations, those whispers in space-time perceptibly diminished. By the following day, telescopic observatories around the globe reported increasingly erratic returns from 3IAtlas, its light curves. Once sharp, rhythmic, and perfectly defined, were now smeared, fragmented, and utterly incoherent, as if the object itself were losing its structural integrity. Desperate attempts to re-establish a stable lock using powerful radar systems proved utterly futile. Instead of returning crisp, identifiable echoes reflecting a solid body, the signals bounced back as nothing more than shapeless, incoherent noise, as if the very surface of 3IAtlas had somehow lost all physical cohesion, melting into an amorphous, non-reflective entity. Then, at 437 UTC, the Deep Space Network's meticulously monitored raw data stream, the lifeline of information from the object, abruptly dissolved. Its receivers, those finely tuned ears of humanity, were suddenly overwhelmed by a cacophony of random phase noise, a cosmic whiteout that rendered all incoming telemetry utterly meaningless. Within mere minutes, the presence of 3IAtlas evaporated from all active telemetry feeds. This wasn't a physical disappearance in the conventional sense visually. It still persisted as a faint, ethereal glimmer against the velvet blackness of space. But informationally, it had ceased to exist. Every single instrument, regardless of its design or sensitivity, that attempted to study it, now returned nothing but profoundly corrupted data, utterly washed out by an impenetrable deluge of interference that no sophisticated software algorithm could possibly parse or filter. It was an unprecedented informational blackout, akin to desperately trying to discern a whispered conversation from within the deafening roar of a raging, boundless storm, a storm with no discernible eye or origin. As the final meticulously verified frames from the majestic James Webb Space Telescope were released internally to a stunned scientific community, they offered a haunting, definitive last glimpse. The image depicted 3IAtlas enveloped by a faint, almost ethereal halo, its once distinct edges now profoundly diffused and indistinct, as though the very material of the object were not merely blurring, but actively dissolving, melting away into the infinite, hungry maw of the void itself. It was a visual elegy, a testament to an impossible transformation. Within a matter of hours, a chilling confirmation rippled through the global astronomical community. Every major observatory, from Mauna Kea to the Atacama Desert, reported the identical, baffling problem. Their instruments, performing flawlessly on every other celestial target, became utterly compromised the moment they attempted to lock onto 3IAtlas. The telemetry they received was not merely corrupted, it was saturated with a bewildering, fractal-like interference, an endlessly recursive structure that defied all conventional analysis. It was a maddening paradox that deeper analysts delved, painstakingly trying to filter out what they presumed was noise. The more an elusive, structured signal seemed to emerge, hidden deeper within the very fabric of the interference itself. It was as if the object had become a cosmic riddle, its answer embedded in its own obfuscation. The inescapable conclusion was radical and unprecedented. 3IAtlas had, to all measurable intents and purposes, ceased to exist as a solid, discernible physical object in space. It had transcended its material form, effectively transforming itself into an interference pattern, a dynamic, energetic node of resonance that utterly defied and no longer adhere to the fundamental, inviolable rules of reflection, absorption, or emission that govern all conventional matter and energy. It was a ghost in the machine of the cosmos, a pure phenomenon. In the aftermath of this informational collapse, NASA's venerable Jet Propulsion Laboratory quietly, almost surreptitiously, scrubbed all mention of 3IAtlas from its public-facing data feeds, replacing its once prominent entry with the anodyne, intentionally vague designation data, under review. The esteemed European Southern Observatory, a beacon of international scientific collaboration, swiftly followed suit, mirroring the move. Official, carefully worded statements from these prestigious institutions spoke only of loss of telemetry consistency, a bland, technical euphemism that barely hinted at the profound, paradigm-shattering mystery unfolding in the cosmos. Yet, amongst the tight-knit circles of analysts and researchers, the stark, unsettling truth was privately acknowledged by virtually everyone involved. 3IAtlas was, in a profound and unprecedented sense, gone. Not gone in the conventional astronomical sense of having receded to an unobservable distance, but gone in its very definition, its fundamental state of being. It had shed the shackles of what it once was, transforming into something utterly beyond human categorization. In an attempt to even begin to grapple with this unprecedented phenomenon, a new, highly unconventional internal designation was tentatively proposed adaptive interference body. This term sought to capture the essence of an entity that seemed to actively interact with the very act of observation itself, dynamically altering its measurable state, its perceived reality, precisely under the relentless scrutiny of sustained scientific analysis. It was as if the object, or whatever it had become, possessed an almost conscious ability to evade definition, shifting its nature the harder humanity tried to pin it down. With a renewed, almost desperate focus, weeks of meticulously archived data were painstakingly re-examined, sifted through bite by bite. This exhaustive review unveiled a chilling, yet incredibly precise, sequence leading up to the object's informational disappearance, a slow, deliberate, almost programmed increase in harmonic complexity. The foundational six-hour rhythm, once a simple beat, had systematically multiplied, branching into an intricate web of subharmonics and overtones, expanding exponentially until its intricacy utterly exceeded the capabilities of even the most advanced analytical models. By the final day of coherent, clean telemetry, this pervasive resonance had exploded to span nearly the entire detectable spectrum from the deepest, rumbling low-frequency gravitational fluctuations to the highest energy ultraviolet scattering. It was an orchestrated symphony of physics, playing itself out across all known domains. In its ultimate transformation, 3IAtlas had shed the last vestiges of conventional materiality. It had not merely radiated signal, it had become pure signal, an informational construct existing as a pervasive wave, a cosmic broadcast without a traditional transmitter. Amongst the bewildered scientists, competing theories began to coalesce. Some, embracing the profound implications, bravely theorized that this represented a final, ultimate transition, a metamorphosis from dense, physical matter into a purely wave-based existence, an entity made of information and resonance. It was a concept bordering on the metaphysical. Others, however, cautioned vehemently against such poetic language. warning that this might simply be a sophisticated computational illusion, a phantom born of cumulative measurement feedback, an emergent property of our own instruments desperately trying to make sense of something fundamentally unknowable. Was humanity observing a new state of being, or merely the limitations of its own perception? Yet, amidst the chaos and competing hypotheses, one haunting pattern embedded within the final, corrupted transmission utterly defied dismissal, a stubborn truth that gnawed at the edges of reason. When the garbled signal was meticulously decompressed, frame by painstaking frame, the overwhelming static miraculously parted to reveal a single, incredibly distinct, repeating interference node. This node was not random. It was precisely shaped like the original, foundational 6-hour waveform, but astonishingly, it was nested within itself not once or twice, but dozens of times over a breathtaking display of perfect recursion, elegant symmetry, and unwavering persistence. It was a digital fingerprint, undeniably intentional or intrinsically fundamental. In the face of such undeniable, self-referential complexity, even the most hardened skeptics, those bastions of empirical doubt, were reduced to profound, awestruck silence. There was no rational explanation left to offer. Over the following nights, a chilling emptiness descended upon the designated coordinates. Observatories around the globe found absolutely nothing: no reflected starlight, no discernible thermal trace, no subtle movement against the immutable tapestry of background stars. The object that had once shimmered, however faintly, against the cosmic blackness had truly dissolved, vanished from conventional detection. All that remained was a residual distortion, a ghostly, decaying ripple, a soft, almost melancholic undulation spreading subtly across the vast, silent starfield. NASA, ever precise in its classifications, formally labeled the event a non-recoverable object state collapse, a clinical term that hinted at an irreversible fundamental transformation. The European Space Agency's ESA notation, with a characteristic European conciseness, was perhaps even more chilling resolve beyond detection threshold, a stark acknowledgement that whatever 3IAtlas had become, it was now simply beyond the reach of human instrumentation. Yet a small, tightly knit circle of dedicated analysts, driven by an unyielding intuition and an insatiable curiosity, staunchly refused to consign the file to cold storage. They continued their vigil, and in doing so, made another astonishing discovery: the lingering residual interference was not, as expected, fading uniformly into the cosmic background. Instead, it continued to fluctuate, emitting slow, consistent pulses of rhythmic resurgence, appearing with clockwork precision, exactly every 6 hours. The unmistakable, signature rhythm of 3IAtlas, its resonant heartbeat, was still undeniably measurable, a faint but persistent echo emanating from the very void where it had once physically resided. It was a ghost in the machine of space, a memory held by the cosmos itself. This haunting pulse, a faint but determined thrum, persisted for days, weeks even. Though far too subtle and ephemeral for any official public announcement, lest it incite confusion or wild speculation, it remained utterly unmistakable to the select few who possessed the expertise and the calibrated instruments to truly know where and how to look. It was as if the very geometry of the space once physically occupied by the object had retained a ghost of its pattern, an indelible imprint, a coherent, resonant echo repeating steadfastly across the vast, silent canvas of emptiness. On the official, meticulously updated classification sheets, the name 3IAtlas stubbornly remained, a testament to its former existence. But beside it, a telling new annotation had been added, replacing all previous categories, status undetermined. It was the universe's ultimate shrug, a formal acknowledgement of profound, unanswerable mystery. Astronomers, once confident in their empirical models, were no longer certain whether 3IAtlas existed in any conventional, physical sense that humanity could comprehend. It was utterly invisible to optical telescopes, untraceable by radar, and no longer possessed a discernible, tangible form. It had ceased to be gravitationally active in a way that could be directly measured. Yet, contradictorily, its unmistakable signature continued to resonate, a pervasive hum across multiple, disparate domains of physics, like a melody playing on instruments no longer present. A quiet, profoundly unsettling conclusion began to solidify amongst the most astute scientists, a radical hypothesis they dared not yet publish for fear of ridicule or disbelief. The emerging consensus was that 3IAtlas might not have truly left our solar system in any traditional trajectory. Instead, it might have undergone an ultimate, transformative phase shift, fundamentally changing its state from a discernible, physical object into a pervasive, intangible influence, a deep, cosmic force now woven into the fabric of space itself. Reflecting this profound conceptual shift, the very vocabulary employed in subsequent internal reports subtly but significantly evolved. Descriptions of 3IAtlas transition from the definitive, object-oriented nouns to more fluid, process-oriented verbs. It was no longer referred to as a singular, but rather as an ongoing action. The phenomenon continues. The field persists. This linguistic transformation underscored the unsettling realization that humanity was no longer tracking a thing, but rather observing an active, pervasive process. Yet, beneath all the meticulous technical restraint, the careful scientific jargon, and the understated official communiques, a single, monumental question remained stubbornly unspoken, a chilling query felt in every line of every draft. It was the existential heart of the mystery. If 3IAtlas has indeed transmuted into something else entirely, transcending its former physical state, then what precisely has it become? And perhaps even more unsettling, how long has the seemingly inert, silent expanse of space itself possessed the inherent, profound ability to orchestrate such an impossible, transformative act? And so, the vigil continues. The faint, elusive signal is still meticulously monitored, its cryptic fluctuations tracked with unwavering dedication. The profound silence, where a tangible object once resided, is still recorded, a stark testament to its absence. And yet, somewhere just beyond the overwhelming cacophony of cosmic background noise, that singular rhythm, quiet, precise, and utterly unchanged, still undeniably beats, a relentless, resonant pulse occurring with unyielding regularity every 6 hours. What commenced as the perplexing, almost isolated behavior of a solitary interstellar visitor has, with a chilling stealth, quietly expanded into a vast, distributed resonance that now subtly influences virtually every precision system humanity possesses. The signature 6-hour pulse, once the exclusive domain of astronomical observation, is no longer confined to the distant reaches of space. It now manifests faintly, yet unmistakably, in the deep echoes of oceanic sonar, in the delicate ionospheric reflection patterns governing our radio communications, in the fundamental quantum noise detected by gravitational wave observatories like LIGO, within our planet's very geomagnetic records, in the stability logs of ultra-precise atomic clocks that define our time, and even in the subtle timing corrections applied to our global satellite networks. Most unsettlingly, according to preliminary neurological studies, its faint echo has even been tentatively identified within the complex tapestry of human circadian and cognitive rhythms. It seems wherever measurement is precise enough to capture such subtle harmonies, the universe is now humming a new, unsettling tune, a reverberation of 3IAtlas woven into the very fabric of our reality. Yes, the rhythm is undeniably present, not arriving with a thunderous impact or a flash of blinding light, nor does it broadcast its intentions like a bold proclamation. Instead, it simply aligns itself within the cosmosa process, so subtle you might miss it, yet so patiently unfolding that it feels timeless, and ultimately, so irresistible that it permeates everything. This alignment distinctly favors coherence over the chaotic dance of randomness, meticulously structuring order out of the vast, formless expanse of entropy. Remarkably, our very act of observation has seamlessly integrated itself as an active component within this intricate cosmic system. The more intently, the more meticulously, and the more rigorously we dedicate ourselves to watching, the more potently the resonance of this rhythm strengthens, becoming ever more sharply defined, like a faint melody brought into perfect focus. Every single telescope, a silent sentinel, meticulously aimed at coordinates that once appeared utterly empty, every sophisticated sensor, precisely calibrated and trained upon the almost imperceptible residual field indeed, every singular act of focused human attention, however small, invariably reinforces and deepens this profound underlying pattern. We, as observers, undeniably did not bring 3IAtlas into existence. Its genesis predates and transcends us. But is it not a curious, perhaps even unsettling, thought that in watching it with such unwavering proximity, with such profound dedication, we might have unwittingly participated in shaping, in some fundamental way, what it ultimately became? Did our collective gaze, our focused intent, somehow solidify its nascent form? The pulse, that enigmatic heartbeat of the universe, continues its unwavering cadence steady, utterly symmetrical in its precision, and profoundly indifferent to the human drama of discovery or recognition. It has transcended its origins. It is no longer merely a faint signal emanating from a distant, isolated object in the void. What it has become, instead, is a fundamental structural property woven into the very fabric of space, time, and the act of measurement itself, manifesting wherever sentient or even rudimentary systems capable of perceiving and interpreting order happen to be present. And in those hushed, ethereal intervals between each resonant pulse, a profound silence descends. It is in these moments, charged with an almost tangible anticipation, that the universe itself seems to incline its vast, cosmic ear, as if listening back to the echoes of its own profound rhythm. or perhaps to the silent queries of those who seek to understand it. 3IAtlas, in its original form, has vanished a cosmic specter no longer physically present. Yet its rhythm, its undeniable, persistent beat, remains inextricably woven into the very warp and woof of everything we utilize to observe and comprehend reality. It has fundamentally transformed, shedding its old skin to become something utterly, profoundly different, a fundamental